Hello, everyone, and welcome to Diplomatic Briefing. As a retail giant and the largest grocery retailer in the United States, Walmart is often seen as a barometer for the health of retailers and American consumers. On May 15th, Walmart's chief financial officer, David Rainey, admitted in an interview with CNBC that, due to the impact of U.S. tariff policies, they will be raising the prices of some products in the United States. He also said that he was pleased with the progress made on the tariff levels announced by the Trump administration in early April, but that these tariffs are still too high. Although there is a 90-day grace period, the United States has lowered the tariff rates on imported goods from China, but has imposed a basic tariff of 10% on goods from dozens of other countries. But Walmart imports a large quantity of electronics and toys from China, and also imports agricultural products such as avocados and bananas from Central and South America. Riley said that Walmart hopes to maintain lower prices than its competitors, especially when shoppers are looking for discounts. He said that in order to achieve this, Walmart will absorb some of the higher costs related to tariffs. He expects that suppliers will also absorb some of the increased costs. He also said that their company will work hard to cooperate with suppliers to keep prices as low as possible. Meanwhile, U.S. President Trump posted a strong criticism, saying that Walmart should not try to use tariffs as an excuse to raise prices throughout the entire supply chain. He said that between Walmart and China, they should absorb the tariffs themselves rather than passing any costs on to valued customers. He said, "I'll be watching you and so will your customers." However, no matter how harshly Trump criticizes, it cannot change the facts. According to the Wall Street Journal, on May 18th, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said in an interview that Walmart would absorb part of the tariffs themselves, but he also admitted that some of the additional tariff costs would ultimately fall on consumers. Bessent said that during Walmart's May 15th earnings call, in accordance with federal regulations, they disclosed the worst-case scenario to avoid legal risks. In an interview with NBC, he hinted that, in his view, Walmart's price increases were not significant. However, Walmart executives said last week that product prices had already started to rise in late April and accelerated in May. In any case, it seems that retailers like Walmart are facing rising costs. Not only are Chinese products subject to tariffs, but imports from all other regions are seeing at least a 10% increase. With China's tough countermeasures, Chinese exporters are not bearing the cost of the tariffs. Instead, it's the American importers and retailers, and ultimately the consumers, who end up sharing the burden. Seeing China's firm response, other countries might follow suit and also refuse to shoulder the full cost of the tariffs. It can only be said that much of the pain from Trump's tariff war is rebounding like a boomerang back onto his own people. Moreover, for some small American businesses, Trump's tariff hikes are nothing short of catastrophic. On May 18, the Washington Post published a lengthy article detailing the experiences of Ray, a small business owner from Florida, revealing the real survival challenges faced by ordinary American families and some small businesses under the shadow of Trump's tariffs. After spending a whole day on social media promoting his company's new cookbook, Ray collapsed onto the sofa and began complaining to reporters about the threat tariffs posed to his business. He said, "One moment I'm talking about how to stew beef, and the next we're discussing an international trade war." His company has only 9 employees, and the only way to make a profit is to manufacture products in China. When the White House escalated the trade war with China in March, Ray already realized that his company would come under pressure. He posted online to explain the situation, hoping his followers would understand. He said, "I can't stay silent any longer. Tariffs are strangling businesses." Ray noticed that in the comments section of his social media accounts, his fans' discussions had shifted from family dinners to trade policy. Some people praised his honesty, while others urged him to switch to American-made products. In fact, Ray's original plan was to purchase American-made products. Going back to 2011, when Ray had just started his entrepreneurial journey, he wanted to use his design skills to launch a planner that included a simple schedule and a to-do list. Ray had indeed considered using products made in the United States. He had contacted American manufacturers and looked for cost-effective production solutions, but found that it was impossible to make a profit no matter what he tried. With no other options left, he found a way out in China and began staying up late to send emails to Chinese factories. In 2012, he finally got in touch with a Chinese manufacturer willing to give him a chance. From then on, everything took off until Trump returned and dealt a heavy blow to the company's business. His company is called Simplify and its flagship product is manufactured in China at a cost of about $12 per unit, which includes many components that cannot be sourced in the United States. Since the beginning of this year, Trump's tariffs have already pushed the cost per unit up to $18, which has severely squeezed Lai's profits and increased the company's operating expenses. Simplify has been forced to sell each unit at a price of $54, and if they raise the price any further, they will no longer be able to remain competitive. Simplify has also looked beyond China, including negotiating with potential partners from India, Turkey, and Southeast Asia. However, due to the White House's unpredictable tariff policies, the company finds it difficult to make long-term plans. According to an analysis by the Washington Post, since Trump took office on January 20th, officials in the Trump administration have announced or revised tariff policies more than 50 times. Although Trump's tariff policies have disrupted the market and global supply chains, many large companies and executives have remained silent. Part of the reason is the fear of angering Trump. At present, none of the Fortune 500 companies have taken legal action. In this situation, it seems that small businesses like Simply are forced to take the lead in challenging the tariffs. Many small businesses rely on cheap foreign labor and operate on thin profit margins. They are facing existential threats from the tariffs and are forced to weigh options between raising prices, laying off employees, or even shutting down their businesses. In fact, the importance of small businesses to the U.S. economy cannot be ignored. According to data from the U.S. Small Business Administration in 2023, small businesses with fewer than 500 employees employed more than 61.7 million Americans, accounting for about 46.4% of private sector employees, and their economic activity made up 43.5% of the U.S. gross domestic product. When asked by the media this May whether he would consider reducing tariffs for these small businesses, Trump dismissed the idea, saying they didn't need it because he was making a lot of money. Lai said that when he saw that interview, he wanted to throw a rock at the screen. Lai said, when the president talks about these issues, it's as if we don't exist. This affects real families, real American jobs, real American livelihoods, real American customers, but he refuses to acknowledge it. Now, Lai's situation has caught the attention of the non-profit organization New Civil Liberties Alliance, NCLA. The New Civil Liberties Alliance claims to be a nonpartisan organization addressing the infringement of freedoms of American companies, but it has previously received funding from the conservative Charles Koch Foundation. This organization invited Lai to join a lawsuit challenging the legality of the tariffs, accusing Trump of overstepping his authority by imposing tariffs on almost all imports and usurping the powers of Congress. Lai said that he had discussed the consequences of suing the president with the New Civil Liberties Alliance multiple times. He said, "I know this could make me a target." Since the day he sued the president, every post he has made on social media has been attacked by bots with pornographic links. Some customers have said they will stop buying his products because of this. But at the same time, new buyers who support his stance have also flocked in. Since Simply filed the lawsuit in federal court in Florida last month, 4 small businesses in Florida have also joined the suit. Another nonprofit organization, the Center for Justice and Liberty, has also filed a lawsuit in the U.S. Court of International Trade on behalf of businesses including a fishing tackle supplier, a women's cycling brand, and an alcohol company. These lawsuits allege that Trump is the first president to use the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs, and that he cannot bypass Congress's authority to set tariff laws by declaring a state of emergency. Tim Meyer, co-director of the Center for International and Comparative Law at Duke University School of Law, said that these lawsuits have a strong chance of success, especially if they ultimately reach the Supreme Court. Rai remarked with a sigh that what put him in this difficult situation was not a lack of customers, nor poor business decisions, but rather the deliberate actions of the White House. Rai said he feels like a pawn in a game. In his own words, "It's not that our businesses have lost, but that the government has let us down. We are like the red and black pieces in a cheap game of checkers, when this should have been a chess match." The most ironic part of Rai's story is that he used to be a supporter of Trump. In conclusion, Trump's policies have damaged America's international image, while China has demonstrated the image of a stable, rational, and pragmatic major power in this tariff war.